All right, you can introduce whenever you'd like.
All right. So hi everyone. Thanks for coming. And for those of you who may not know me, my name's Amber Patel. I'm the West Region Self-Advocacy Facilitator. Thank you for joining us for this workshop. In this workshop, we're gonna have a chance to have you meet a great self-advocate named Andrew. He's gonna tell you guys a little bit about this new venture that he started called the Self-Advocacy magazine. A few little tech notes before we get started. You'll notice that there are transcripts captioning on. We really want to acknowledge that because the reason we are able to have that service is due to the great advocacy of a group of self-advocates from across the country that really worked with Zoom to make it more accessible. So we applaud them. We also want to let you know that there will be time for questions and thoughts at the end of Andrew's presentation. And you'll be able to put those in Q&A and chat, and we will get to them. So with that, we're gonna hand it over to Andrew to start his presentation. And Andrew, whenever you want to get that PowerPoint ready.
Yes, I have it up. How do I share it on the screen?
You should have a green button in the middle of your controls that says screen share. Can you see that button?
Yes, can you see this?
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Okay. Just a PowerPoint too, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. My name is Andrew Carr. I'm an advocate in Massachusetts, and during COVID, I started this magazine called the Advocacy Magazine, which is mostly based on focusing about disability rights, advocacy, and for the underserved and underrepresented community. Our goal is to empower and uplift communities across the country, and especially Massachusetts, to have media representation in the media and share their stories and advocacy, be briefed on, informed of legislative news happening that impacts them, and write about stories that would impact legislation in our nation's capital and in Massachusetts. So throughout this presentation, we'll be sharing more about what is advocacy, what we're focused on, the goal of advocacy, and if we're able to talk and discuss in this format about advocacy. Yes, that's where we're heading on. So I'll just start now with the magazine. Is there any questions I should answer before starting, or just go ahead and start?
Andrew, I would go ahead and start.
Okay, yes, okay. So hi everyone, my name is Andrew. This is the Advocacy Magazine. We're looking to recruit and advocate with self-volunteers. Let's see. Well, what we're starting with is a theory of change. Our theory is to advance information, education, and awareness about advocacy stories in the disability community, to provide informative education on legislative action and disability community, to provide policy solution and policy action, to promote an advocacy news in the media and grassroots awareness on the digital platform. We have created a Google News and a Facebook Instant Article platform, which means our stories show up on Google News and Facebook Instant Articles. And so we'll be able to develop this platform where we can share news and articles on the platform. So we're really excited to engage in the community. So we really see that promoting public policy that we know, but mass advocates are really focused on supported decision making. So we write articles about supported decision making that can reach an engaged audience nationwide and in Massachusetts, to engage the audience in impactful change and legislative changes throughout the state, and engage readers to take action on these issues. So we do this through information, education, awareness about advocacy in the disability community. And we do this by cross-sharing articles like from mass advocates or other nonprofits that would support this decision, by informing our engaged audience. So we really think that what we're doing here is building a platform of readers and advocates who can come together to use this platform to see the power of change and media attention. And we believe that we can share these stories like with the Boston Globe or other newspapers in the United States to see these stories be heard, published by the Advocacy Magazine. I think we ran through some videos. I know this isn't engaging, so we won't be able to do questions, but I think if you watch the video on what is advocacy, we can get an understanding of what is advocacy and what advocacy means. Excuse me, let me just see if I can get, are we allowed to go off the PowerPoint videos or?
Yeah, it should show up fine.
Okay.
Just click it.
Self-advocacy, learning to self-advocate. This is a skill that is critical. It's important to foster independence.
Andrew, we can hear it, but we can't see it.
I can't see it.
Yeah.
You might need to stop the screen share and restart
Okay.
it, like selecting the window that has the video in it.
Oh yes, let's see. Stop screen share, reshare. Is that okay? I'll just go to that direct screen of the.
Yeah, that would, I think, work better.
Okay, now I can see it.
Yes.
Self-advocacy, learning to self-advocate. This is a skill that is critical. It's important to foster independence.
So this is something that we want on Powerfield Magazine. We want to build and represent, and we want to eventually build a company that can hire self-advocates across the country and in Massachusetts to bring these self-advocates on board that engage in advocacy and find employment through advocacy as well. This is one of our visions. So if you're interested, email Amber and reach out to me about how you can help with develop this mission or be part of this in developing this mission and building this background report. So just enjoy this video for now, and I hope to connect more about this later on.
And success. What does it mean to self-advocate? Self-advocating means you speak up for yourself. Means you ask for what you need, and you ask for help and questions when needed. How can you improve your self-advocacy skills? By learning a set of strategies, by practicing, lots of practice, and a willingness to challenge yourself. There are 5 key strategies or steps you can use that will assist you with self-advocating. Let's take a look at the first step. You need to identify and clarify. It's important that you identify the problem or what you need. Make sure you are.
So I think this is why this video is good, because this is what the magazine can do. We're going to highlight issues in the media about identifying the problem, and we, the advocates, will be presenting the solution by writing these articles and solutions to the public to understand these solutions through our employment, through our team. We develop these policy solutions that we can write articles and promote on.
Clear and specific on what it is that you require. It's a lot easier for you and the person helping you to solve the problem if the problem is clear. Step 2, select. Select the proper person to ask for help. Someone you trust, someone that is reliable. Make sure they have the knowledge you need or the expertise to assist you. Step 3, have confidence. Remind yourself how important it is to advocate, and there's nothing to fear. You're only going to benefit.
I think for me, I found advocacy and self-advocacy so important because as a person with a hearing loss, I was able to see in the educational world and other settings through the power of advocacy for hearing accessibility technology, for captioning, and for communication, like in restaurant settings, quieter settings for me. So that's how advocacy has inspired my life and empowered me to be more successful in my life. And I think this is a tool that we'll be demonstrating, enabling change makers to make changes and for more greater public accommodation, like I received growing up.
Step 4, speak up. Ask for assistance. Be very specific when explaining to the person what you need, and make sure you're polite and not demanding. For the last step, Make sure that you're thankful. Thank the person after they have assisted you. By being thankful, people are more likely to help you out next time you need some assistance. A few things to remember. It's okay to ask for help. It's part of being an adult. You shouldn't worry about what others think. It does take courage to ask for help. And being able to self-advocate will make you more independent and successful.
I think that last video captures it really well, because I think when you advocate, you want to be thoughtful, kind, caring, and building this inclusive community. I think that's one thing we focus on in the magazine, is how do you build this inclusive community without being abrasive or rude. That we want to advocate for passionate and kind change. That we want the change to be kind and approachable. I have a few more videos to show. Let's see. Left the group. Okay, I'm pulling up the screen. This is about understanding advocacy in action.
There's no question about it. Giving feels good, and it makes you happy and strong, physically strong. It's a fact. So if you want to be strong and happy, you learn to give. That, friends, is what we call philanthropy. When it comes to time, talent, or treasure, there are lots of different ways to give. And throughout history, philanthropists have changed the course of our...
So I want to say we believe that we can empower change by connecting with community donors who can reach out to us. So this is more about reaching out to donors and corporate donations who can maybe support the magazine. So this is just a video about advocacy, kindness, and action. Even as individuals, you can donate your time and make impactful change.
Our communities, our country, and the world.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I tried to have it as little anger as possible. I tried to use it to help people who were suffering, and many who were discouraged and did not have the courage to try to take a stand for themselves.
That's exactly what we want to do. We want to empower people. We don't want people to feel discouraged.
That pervades everything. I feel it, though I do not see it.
When you help someone directly, you are giving face to face, person to person, or maybe person to animal. You do something to address a need. Cheer on racers at an event. Maybe you help paint a mural on an old worn-out building to make a neighborhood look better, clean up a park, or volunteer to read to animals. Giving can also be indirect. You might organize a drive to collect books, school supplies, or toys for children right in your hometown. Or put your amazing jumping skills to the test and get people to sponsor your jump-a-thon so you can fund a well in Haiti. In these cases, you may never see the people you help, but you know you made a difference. Advocacy means supporting a cause, and it's another way to give. If you want to help people be healthier, you might make posters showing healthy choices, or host a health fair at your school. You could hold a meeting to show people why exercise or participating in team sports is good. Maybe you think people in your school should be nicer, so you help create a movement and show others how they can pay an act of kindness forward. When you advocate, you use your voice to influence or get people to get on board with a movement. Another way to give your time is to do research about an issue or topic. Maybe you help take water samples from a lake and then share how good it is, or isn't, with your community to get them to act. You could survey your classmates about safety. If there is a safety need, propose an idea or program that can help. When you do research and share your findings, you become the teacher and help educate and bring issues to life in your community. As you can see, there are many ways to give, and every one of them is important. When you give, it's contagious in a good way. The people you help and those who see you are inspired to give too. Giving your time, talent, or treasure while taking action for the common good is good for all.
I think I was looking back at the video. Community advocacy, that when we're advocating in the magazine, we're also building a community advocacy, a community effort. We're advocating together. And we're building this platform. I think that is sad. We're building this platform, but I think even just by being here, you're already encouraging the growth of this platform. So thank you. I have one more video to show.
What is advocacy? What is advocacy? It'd be easy to think that advocates are out in the political world, separating right from wrong, us from them. But it'd also be incorrect. Advocacy provides a voice for the community to inspire system-wide change. It puts the views of those who need to be heard in front of those who need to hear them, in hopes of seeing a better world for all. And it's working. Because of advocates, Americans have better access to safe drinking water, healthcare, equal work opportunities, and so much more. But they weren't alone. They had support from a community that cared about these issues and wanted to see a change. A community full of people like you. So why support advocates? Because advocacy is an essential part of leaving this world better than we found it. What?
Now we're heading back to the PowerPoint. I wonder, can it be opened up to question and answers? Can I do questions on the question?
Yeah, you want to open up the Q&A?
Yes. So as we go along with the PowerPoint, we can just cover some topic.
Okay.
Just type the response in here, and I'll share the screen.
Yep. If anybody has questions, just put them in the Q&A, and Austin will be able to see them, and so will we, and we will get to them as we're going.
I wanted to hear back. How do you believe that the power of this magazine can advance informative education, educative awareness about advocacy story in the disability community? And what do you think about this statement and mission? I think here that I'm presenting, I want to collect feedback from the group. So I'm hoping to get some feedback in the answer to the question about how you think this can impact media representation, and what story do you think we should tell to make media representation more powerful?
Okay. So if you can put in the chat or the Q&A some of the stories that you think Austin could share through his magazine, he would love your feedback.
Yes. Yes, hello, we are looking for stories. So we would love to collect maybe through Amber stories about advocates from across Massachusetts who want to share their stories about like struggles they have or outcomes they want to see be better for them personally. I think, like, for example, we know someone who mentioned in group home that some people live in poverty in group home. So we like to help advocate and collect stories to help people lift out of these dire situations they face in group homes, or just if they don't have caretaking settings, to help them alleviate those settings.
Does anyone else have ideas for Austin?
Yes, they can. I can send them to you later.
Yep, we're recording everything. Everything will be posted later.
I think one thing here I want to get some feedback on is how is advocacy made stronger through the media? Do you think that this platform of media engagement can really build the power of grassroots advocacy?
So Sue asked about the videos. We'll make sure we get those video links from Austin and make them available. From Andrew, I'm sorry. Francesca says reach directly out to groups.
Yes, we like to reach out to groups. So I think this is one way that we plan to reach out to. We're trying to build our network, other groups. Like we like to connect with North Shore advocacy groups, so we can maybe build that connection through here, or anyone knows other groups we can present to. Please connect with Amy or I to reach out to on those groups. I think we really plan to build this network across Massachusetts before going nationwide to collect more stories, report on advocacy. And we want to help build this connection. Yes, I think this platform will be an example of that and the power of this platform. Thank you. I think the question here is we really want to engage in grassroots advocacy. And what does that mean to engage in grassroots advocacy? I think that really means to engage self-advocates, reporting from stories, and advocating based on their policies. I think that really means getting feedback from nonprofits who have been involved in the mission. And yes, talking about it to people and sharing about it is one way we can all be engaged in this. Let me send you my email. Can I send my emails in here?
Yeah, you want to put your email in the chat?
Let's see the next slide I have. I think one of the things that we're addressing here is that we think that we can empower mobility change, economic mobility through economic media. This is just some personal research I've done is that during my research, I've seen online digital media has so much room for growth and revenue and economic success of online digital media. I think that I believe with grassroots advocates across the state and across the country, we can really build this revenue platform where we can hire self-advocates to write and contribute to this magazine. So we've been promoting this. We really want to think that we can promote the theory of economic mobility through this magazine by hiring contracted writers to write for this magazine, or self-advocates that can go around the country and represent this magazine platform, the advocacy goal. Like one of our goals is to end disability poverty. So how do we do that? We represent, work with nonprofit, work with businesses to hire people, employ people, maybe promote universal basic income through a wage of reducing disability poverty. Because right now, disability employment is like 6%, and the number of people in poverty is a percentage higher than that. And we really think that we should really address that. And we really view that through the lens of economic mobility and economic success. And we believe that applying the power of digital monetization through this magazine, we can lift people out of poverty by hiring them as self-advocate and lifting them up and building this network.
So Austin, do you want to ask if there's anybody here that has interest in working in media?
Yes, yes, I'd like to hear that. Yes, yes, I would like to. Yes, who would interest you here in working in media or have they worked in media before? Personally, for me, working media, I worked at a radio station, college, and I was a radio show host, and we ran an online media page for the website. I think this is where I got some of my inspiration to do media. Nice. Do podcasts or do you represent media? Would you be interested in being involved later on?
So Francesca, Austin wants to know how you've been involved.
Hello, how are you guys?
Hello.
How I got involved was, first of all, I'm Fran, and my pronouns are he, him, and they, and she and her.
Yeah.
I got involved by my parents by this watching them how they advocated for me through school, fighting for services all my life for fighting, and basically seeing them struggle, fighting for me to get what I needed in school. And I remember all the times that my parents had to fight, especially the one thing was that they wanted me to learn how to do cursive. And the school said, I didn't need to learn it because they said, well, if he needed to sign a check. And the teacher said, well, he can just put an X on the check and that could be his signature. And my dad's like, no, that's not good enough. And I remember my dad and mom had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars just to get me um, occupation therapy to learn how to do cursive at the hospital. And lo and behold, my dad said, "That's it. I can't keep affording this and all that." And they went to the Department of First and Secondary Education, and they complained to them and said, my son's not getting what they wanted in their education. And they said, we'll see what we can do. And even with them, they couldn't do anything. They kept fighting and fighting, and eventually the school department, they said, all right, that's it, we'll teach them. And they taught me. And my point I'm trying to say is that when you advocate for yourself, you achieve something, not just for the sake of it, but you feel good afterwards. And it's something that you're fighting for what you believe in. And I think advocacy is really important for people to understand that it's not just for something that for the sake of it. You're doing it for what you believe in, and I believe 100% on advocating for stuff. What and this magazine idea that you guys are coming up with is part of advocating because you're advocating for what you want, and it's really a really great thing that you guys want to do. And I think that you're showing other self advocates that they can pitch their ideas and show that they have a voice as well, and they deserve to be heard and show their amazing talent. I can tell you, so many of my friends would love to pitch their ideas and show their art and or just show their poetry and stuff. And it sounds like a really great idea.
Yes, that would be amazing. I'd love to connect. Maybe we could host another focus group later on stories and collecting representation. That's something we could do. I see there's definitely an interest in doing this later on. Maybe we can connect on email, another setup. I'd love to do that. I think that kind of touches on this topic of how you advocate for yourself. Would anyone like to share their story of how they advocated for themselves, even if they don't have a disability? One the time you might have advocate for yourself in the field, or even just maybe accessing that next opportunity for your loved one, or maybe just community, like technology access, or being able to access, like we travel, or access to your transportation, or advocating for the right pickup.
Austin, we had some, Andrew, I'm sorry. Andrew's got a brother named Austin, and I tend to mix them.
Yeah,
mix-
my name's Andrew. My name's Andrew.
Yes, I was just explaining why I might mix your name up because it's so similar to your brother's.
Yes, I
Um,
do have a brother named Austin. So yes, sorry about that.
but we have some chats coming in from John, who talked about how he didn't like the place where he was living, so he moved to another place.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
just how are you able to advocate? Did you find out easy to advocate, or did you find like you needed to really fight for yourself, or would it have been better if there's more groups supporting you, or what was some background on that? And how did you make that successful? I'm glad to hear you able to find a place to live. Unfortunate that situation didn't work out the first time.
We'll see if John's response comes through, but in the meantime, if anybody else has thoughts, they can share them as well.
Can I see the chat, or is it only open?
You should be able to see the chat.
I see question and answers. Chat. Oh, here's the chat. Okay.
Yeah. That's...
Okay, I see it. Let's see.
All right. So I don't think we have a response from John yet.
I see you moved to South Bend, Massachusetts. Advocate all the time to make the move. Yes, advocate does take a long time. You're trying to purchase a phone. Yes, I think that's one thing we talk about is opportunity for people, and just any kind of economic opportunity. That's one example. Who might like access for technology or access to a phone. That's something great that we could collaborate with nonprofit to help individuals with purchases. Yes. Have you worked with ETCL, John? ETCL might be able to help.
You're right. Easter Seals is a great resource for assistive tech.
I think that's something we cover here. What does economic opportunity mean to you? I think there's a lot of talk about right now about increasing economic success and economic job for people, for individuals, basic security. What does that mean to you? Like, we're advocating for economic opportunity and economic success for the individual. What does that mean to you? What does that mean having a home, an iPhone, a computer, food on the table, a car, transportation, recreation, traveling, getting a job?
John says job. Anybody else? I'm going to clarify that the word economic means pertaining to money.
Yes.
John says transportation, food. Yep, being able to meet your basic needs is a big part of economic stability.
I think one thing that we hear so much in the media, they report on the issue, but there's not so much advocacy around it. So I think one thing we aim for in the media is to change that narrative and help empower people to live through those changes of economic opportunity and economic success. So we focus on policy outcome, maybe collaborating with nonprofits and businesses to make that possible, and media representation to create awareness toward those solutions that we can do. So yes, this is great. What are some issues you think that are facing Massachusetts? What can Massachusetts do to improve for people with disabilities in the advocacy campaign? What are some opportunities Massachusetts should open up to or have and improve? Did anyone have thoughts or questions on that? What do you think we can do to make Massachusetts a better place to live or greater economic opportunity?
Again, you can put your thoughts in the chat or the Q&A, or raise your hand and we'll turn your mic on. So how do you think we can improve Massachusetts for people with disabilities?
Like I know for a lot of people, this might mean affordable housing or living in a place of their setting, and it definitely seemed that students place where you want to live is very limited. More transportation is very limited. It's mostly focused on just the Boston area. So yes, that's a great idea. Yeah, I'll give it transportation.
Yes.
I know Amber, a lot of people have trouble with transportation or scheduling the ride, or that it's not already available to them right away.
That is certainly true. You're a little further east, and I think even probably you have struggles, but out in Western Mass, it can be really tough.
You definitely need to address the wholeness of transportation and the statewide transportation.
Monica will try to slow down the conversation a little bit. I think Monica's just having a little trouble following.
Yes, we were talking about transportation and making transportation more accessible and meeting the needs of people statewide, not just in the Boston area, but out in Massachusetts. And maybe that's something we can set up. We should set up another group and focus on. No transportation. No, that's awful. We definitely want to help advocate for that. We definitely see that. We know there's an advocacy group in Worcester that is advocating for more cabs and accessibility. I tried advocating a few years ago for a wheelchair accessible cab in my hometown city, Winthrop, Massachusetts, but I faced a lot of backlash and there was interest, but people weren't really interested in moving forward, and then they got busy and they didn't deal with it. And I know the Disability Commission I'm on, but we still face limited capacity because there's not a huge amount of interest. So hopefully, by building a media platform, we generate more attention toward this issue and empower the cities of Massachusetts to address those issues of transportation and even the state of Massachusetts. So yeah, that's definitely a big topic right now. Shared living. Yes, definitely. We see the increase of shared living, mean living out of closed settings or more in a more freely setting where you can live more independently and you have more ability to make your own choices in shared living. Yes, I agree. And I think we advocate for like what are the benefits of transportation, what are the benefits of shared living. So that would be a great way to advocate and for more opportunity in Massachusetts. Freestyle? I don't know what freestyle is. Do you know?
I think he might have meant freedom because he also says independence.
More freedom of independence. Okay. More freedom of independence, more movement, more community living. Definitely. Yes.
No worries, John. Typos happen.
And that's great. Yes. And this is something we like to do. Would anyone here be interested in doing a focus group later on? Maybe I don't know if anybody would like to host it, but I think we hope to host a focus group later on. Maybe we really promote through nonprofit where we can sit together and work on some articles and advocacy issues for these issues that we've covered. So this is where we hope to build and share with a friend who are interested in advocacy. That's something we can open up to in the email later on, people who are interested in email back to work on these issues.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what a focus group means? What a focus group does?
Yeah, focus would be like a working group where we would meet weekly or monthly to work on these issues in Massachusetts and write articles for the magazine and promote them to other media platforms and our media platform in Massachusetts. And we could do that through email communication. So let me just put my email again. I say email Amber, is that okay? That's great. We love to help advocate for more access to jobs. One example that we're presenting here is I'm working on a platform, the magazine working on Teach Disability History, cause we want to see cities support Teach Disability History in schools and spread awareness. And Teach Disability History is about teaching the history of disability rights and the rights of civil rights movement people with disabilities in the United States, such as the AGA, the president who signed the legislation, the historical figure, and understanding that even historical figures like Harriet Tubman had a disability. So incorporating the historical figure in our country who also had disabilities and recognizing that people with disabilities made important contributions to the United States history. That's one thing we like to do. Yes, cab, travel, shared living.
We had a question come through from Sue saying, can you talk a little bit more about what it means to promote stories to other media platforms?
Yes, I think what it means is engage in media. We're trying to build a platform that had like 1 million readers or followers from Massachusetts. And we're working with different organizations to build this infrastructure. And I think even among nonprofits, like recognize the Advocacy Magazine as a platform of where stories from advocacy tools, so nonprofits could build up these stories from self-advocacy in Massachusetts and across the country and work on those initiatives. And then with it, in partnership with the magazine, we could work on those initiatives. So I think those are two ways we would address the storytelling representation with through working with nonprofits that can see these stories from self-advocates and media attention, like the public awareness and the social media focus on these issues, and like maybe trending on Twitter or being seen on other social media platforms and being reshared across social media. So those are the ways we would increase that. And I see the thing on the way to further can't close on that. Oh yes, and what it means to promote stories on other media platforms and this media platform. I think promoting other media platforms like social media or being picked up by other news outlets, like we're recognizing the awareness of this issue, or we're sharing the importance. Like for example, I talked to disability outlets for the Ford magazine or NPR. They said they're interested in picking up our articles or advocacy articles to share them. So we write the advocacy article and other magazines could report on them. So I think that's something that we're building here that can have a real impact. Any other questions on that? What it means to have media representation and told about the story? I think we've already highlighted some great things that we added to shared living, transportation, cab access to technology, and I mentioned anything else? Job access. I think those are something that we cover. We're focusing on. Like as the magazine, we would pick on topics that we would campaign for through our storytelling, and most of them go to political.com or the Boston Globe. You read a story like in our monthly feature or weekly features, we address these issues from self-advocates across the country or in the state. And these articles would inform the reader of these issues and how they can make changes. So such topics we focus on: disability employment, moving barriers to the workplace protection, social equality of people with disabilities, and underserved and underrepresented communities from disparity, teaching disability history, empowering people and people with disabilities out of poverty, raising awareness for social solutions like transportation or shared living, legislative action, and stories and bills can change lives. Like representing legislation, we find that so many nonprofits are limited by lobbying limitation and things I've been involved. You can't really lobby if you're funded by other agencies, but this would be self-funded, so you'd be able to advocate and lobby for these legislative changes. So that's where the real change comes. Yes. So do we agree with these issues? And I would definitely add, yes, we haven't thought about TV yet, but we definitely would do a YouTube channel or media channel. And we're really looking into a radio station, but definitely if we could get news stations to pick up stories. I haven't really built too many TV contacts, so that maybe that's where the community would help help the magazine build that, as we reach out across Massachusetts. Yes, this is exciting. I'm so glad I see this feedback. Does anyone have more to contribute to that, Amber? Do you have any more to contribute, or about policy we should pick up, or issues we could advocate for? I definitely see we see cab transportation, shared living, job access, technology access.
Let's see. Anybody else have other ideas for Andrew about what he should be covering?
I do agree with the topic. Like, how would you rate these topics? Do you think you'd rate it, or magazine, radios, books?
So maybe what outlets like would work best for you? Are you
Yes.
most interested in TV, or are you most interested in radio? I think that feedback would really help Andrew in deciding how he should prioritize things.
Yes. And there's so many ways you can do that. That's why I think we're a little overwhelmed, but we're really focused on just the online digital platform. But we see so many ways to engage audience and build audiences. It's really exciting.
John says online and YouTube really
Yes,
appeal to him.
And that's something, if you're interested in reaching out to me, I have my email here. So if you want to reach out to start a YouTube channel or work with me on a project like this, you can reach out to me. And I would love to do that.
And we will send out information after this with all of Andrew's contact as well. So
Yes.
we'll send out an email to everybody that registered.
This is my contact. So if you take a moment, you can write it down. We still have a few more things to cover, but I'll go back to here. I think we sort of covered it, but I think what matters for advocacy, who can advocate, how does change happen? I think we've seen here change can happen individually, at a group, an organization, or collectively. Who can advocate? I think we realized in this country, everyone had the freedom of expression, so everyone had the power to advocate. But what did it mean to advocate? And do you believe that we can build this platform for advocacy? I think that's what we can touch on. What's the outcome of advocacy? Like, what do you see as important in the outcome of advocacy? Is it organizational change? Is it just your own personal changes? What do you see as important? And what would you like to see for advocacy? More like personal success stories, collective stories?
All right. So I think that question is, what parts of advocacy are the most important to you?
Yes, what's important to you? What do you see as the outcome of advocacy? Like, do you see like legislative change as being outcome, or do you see personal issues more important? Like access to your own personal needs more important, or do you see like legislative law as more important? Like, I'd be focused on issue. We actually would advocating for personal need be better, or as a whole advocate for systematic reform or reforms in the state. Government laws more important. That's good to know. Yeah, I think we definitely find laws passed by governments, state government, national government are much more important, and they can even benefit personal outcome. I know education was a huge success because of advocates like ourselves made laws possible for people with disabilities to be educated equally. Here I shared a recruitment. Who would be interested in recruiting for the magazine, creating stories for the magazine, doing public relations for the magazine, contact organizations for the magazine? Is anyone interested in being involved? I think we can sort of do a sign up now. I can just write down your names or emails. Can I take emails from people? Okay. John, do you have an email? Or do you have a phone number?
Well, we have everybody's contact information.
Okay. Okay,
so,
great. So if you give her the permission, she can forward me your contact information. We can be in touch about creating stories for the magazine, recruiting for the magazine, which would be great. Okay.
Yeah.
This would be interesting.
So if you're interested, just throw like a yes or a me in the chat and we will get Andrew your contact.
Yes.
So we definitely have a yes from John. Samantha says me. Awesome.
Okay. Hello, Samantha. Hello, John. Hi,
Christy.
Hello.
Christy. Awesome. Yep. John will definitely put you on that list.
Yes.
Sue says yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad we can make this change together.
And Sue happens to be an advisor for a whole group, so maybe that'll lead to some contacts out there.
I think one thing, this might be a little repetitive, but what did the Advocacy magazine mean to you? Now that you've heard more about it, you've heard what we hope to make impacts on. What did it mean to you, and what testimony can we share from what you heard today?
And I think it's okay if maybe you don't have reflections now, because it's new, but we can always pass along thoughts afterwards as well.
Yes. I think for me, it was very building the community, this grassroots effort of empowering change and local advocates, grassroots advocates who can elevate their stories statewide, nationwide, and be heard in their community, and really make an impact and speak out for others where they've had, like you had success and be able to change. John, was it? Be able to change from home. A lot of people might not know how to do that or change their living. So we would be able to tell those stories of how people were able to move to a better home or a better group setting. And by those stories of representation, we can empower others to live better lives in the independent home settings. I think maybe stories of education. People may not receive the same quality of education if they live in a place that's not as inclusive or accessible or informed of opportunities or the laws. And by the power of story representation, we can make this change more possible. That story would tell that. So I think that's what it means to me, and that's what it means to make the impact and outcome of the magazine. Amy, do you have any thoughts on that? What it means to you from hearing about this?
Do I have any thoughts? Sure, I will share my thoughts. So I was so excited to meet you because we haven't had an opportunity to discuss this, but media and communication is actually a legitimate passion of mine as well. I have a degree in communication. I studied journalism in school.
Oh, yes.
So I definitely think there's some things we can do together and build some relationships in West.
Yes, that would be me. I'd love to follow up more on that. And after meeting, I love journalism. I did video in school, and I just felt the inspirational power of sharing stories, and the audience, the power of the audience to convey those stories just really meant a lot to the community when I did that show. I hosted WSK 89.1 out of Western State or Western Mass. And we ran Facebook groups and social media pages for the community. And my brother Austin, he also ran a radio show at Perkins School for the Blind for the past 5 years, and I helped him host and develop those stories.
That's great. Did you say Westfield State?
Yes, Westfield State University.
I went to Westfield State.
Oh, really? That's great. It's a great campus.
It is.
Yes.
That's really. All right.
And then here I shared a link. Let me share some stories with you on the magazine. I can show you some examples. I'm gonna take my screen off for a second. So I'm going to show you the website a little bit. If you haven't seen it, I'll put the website down here so you can check it out. Now I'm going to share my screen so you can see the website. As you can see, we're promoting one story about enterprise, and you can see the blank spaces are where ads are going to go, like how you make the revenue, but we don't have anything up right now. We have one person who told a story about the airline. I click on this. Yes. Airline magazine, Advocacy Airline. We're telling the story of someone who was a young child, was able to access airfare travel because they're able to carry her onto the plane. But as she got older, she wasn't able to travel as much onto the plane because there wasn't airline accessibility. So one of the focuses of the magazine is to advocate for airline wheelchair retrofitting, where they can fit in the wheelchair onto the plane. That way, adults with disability in wheelchair can travel onto airplane and fly. So the story tells that narrative and her experience and what she's hoping to advocate for.
That's
So this
really
is one
cool.
example that we're building as a demonstration of what we can do. And we plan to share these stories more and develop policy on how that can happen, like for funding, advocate for funding to make that happen so they can make the airplane more accessible to funding. I think one thing we saw here was during the pandemic, 1 million people with disability lost their jobs. We share the story here. You can see the story. We just did a brief commentary on it. We're experimenting with different ways to tell a story, whether they should be 1,000 words or they should just be like a paragraph, like highlighting the issue and representing what we're advocating for, or this is an example of media representation. Like we see a story, we want to raise awareness that 1 million people with disabilities are working so nonprofit and corporations do to address this issue. So this is one story we covered here, and we covered the source that we shared. Did anyone have any comments on those two stories that I just shared?
So John says it's neat.
Oh, here we go. Share.
So Andrew, does that pretty much wrap up what you wanted to share with us today?
Yes. And do you like the website? I think I'm not a great technical expert in website. It took a really long time to develop this website and design it. I think we're still playing around with certain structure. Like we like to see like a homepage and like headline news, advocacy story, like break them down into section and like monthly story or weekly story. And I think that's what we're looking to build on. So thank you everyone for joining me here today. Thank you. I appreciate to present this group and this enthusiasm. And I believe this enthusiasm will only grow as we all together contribute to this magazine and success.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today, Andrew. I'm so excited about what you're trying to build.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So that just about brings us to the end of our slot. I think we'll take an extra minute just to give you some heads up about what to expect from the rest of the day, and then we'll wrap up. So Ness, do you want to take that?
Yes, thank you. So we have 2 more workshops scheduled for today for later this afternoon. At 4:30 p.m. we have trivia with West Region Self-Advocacy. It should be a fun workshop. We'll play Jeopardy together. And at 5:30, we have Open Door Club presents How to Stay Healthy, a presentation from a local group in our area about health and safety. And those are both at the same link you used to get here, which It's also in your email if you're registered, on our Facebook and on our website, masswrsa.org. And tomorrow we also have a lot of exciting things going on. At 12 p.m., Mass Advocate Standing Strong presenting supported decision making. And at 4:30 p.m., a movie night, a film screening of the movie Wonder, and discussion. And those are also at the link you used to get here. So we hope to see folks for some more stuff over the next few days.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you all so much for coming. See you later.
Have a good one.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Bye-bye.